as it's September, I wanted something that was a little bit more like back to school in its vibes, which is what has led me to Urban Legend from 1998. Now, I'm still on a journey when it comes to 90s movies, but I still don't know what the guy in this movie is actually called. Like, what's the villain? What's their actual name? Because I've been calling this guy simply Parker Face, or like in my everyday life. Like, he's Parker Face now. This will always be his forever name, and no one will change it for me otherwise. But it's also led me to this weird revelation that you can make any horror movie villain way less scary by simply changing their name by adding the word face in some way. And I'm about to prove this point because we now have Burn Face, Hockey Face, Clown Face, Man Face, and my personal favourite, my son. But back to Urban Legend. What I know about this movie is it's got Jared Leto in it, it's got Tara Reid in it, and it's got Robert Englund in it. But find me a 90s horror movie that didn't have Robert Englund in it, because I swear the man has at least a cameo in everything. But if you don't know anything about Urban Legend from 1998, let me quickly fill you in. Urban Legend from 1998 is a slasher horror. When a series of murders take place in and around her university, Natalie finds herself in the centre of a series of sadistic murders, seemingly inspired by urban legends. She resolves to find the truth about Pendleton's own legend, a 25-year-old story of a student massacre at the hands of an abnormal psych professor. If you're new here, I go by Hordes, and if you're not new, welcome back. I talk about horror movies here on my channel on Mondays and Fridays, but as always, when it comes to watching movies that I have never seen before, I am now going to go and watch Urban Legend from 1998 off camera. So that way, if you too want to watch this slasher movie about urban legends killing people in mysterious ways, nothing will be spoilt for you, because nobody wants to watch a movie that you've just watched somebody else watch from start to finish, because then you're going to know exactly what happens, and I keep it spoiler free here on my channel.
Get in the car.
That opening though, and then you've got Loretta Davis, who is watching Pam Grier in Coffee and reenacting the entire scene. Like, that's a vibe that I can get behind, and she might be my favourite in this entire movie. Okay, so I might be a little bit biased towards this one because it happens to give me like Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 4 kind of vibes, just a little bit, where the Scooby Gang all went off to college but Xander got a job and ended up moving into the basement. Like, it's very that, and I'm kind of a bit nostalgic for those vibes. Like, if you're set in the late 90s, early 2000s, my little heart is gonna love that because it feeds my soul.
Maybe some people enjoy nostalgia.
I quite like the concept of urban legend. Like, I love a slasher movie that's got a theme, you know, help yourself stand out in a sea of slasher movies. I'm all here for that. And I actually knew about half of the urban legends in this. Like, I'm not American, so me knowing all of them was just never gonna happen. But the microwave urban legend was not ready for that one, but let's put that nicely. I like the opening scene. In fact, I really like the opening scene. And I like the last kind of 40 minutes, I would say. But the first part of this movie, without Parker Face cropping up every now and then to like kill people off, it is very slow to drip feed you any kind of information. Like, you are told that there was a rumoured massacre on campus at the hands of a psych professor, and that is about it. It is very slow to give you any further information on this, like, backstory, this urban legend. And you kind of get all of this information from Jared Leto's character because he's working on the school newspaper and is, like, deep diving into what has previously happened. And then the hour and 26 minute mark, like, chef kiss, like, that reveal, I'd guessed half of it, but I didn't see the other half coming, so I have to give points just for that.
Scooby-Doo, take note.
It isn't really until around sort of Tara Reid's character becoming the target in this that things actually start to pick up the pace. And unfortunately, if Parker Face wasn't there to increase the kill count and increase tension, I do think that this, even though it's a slow burn horror movie, would be a bit too much of a slow burn horror movie. And I do have a theory as to why this is a slow burn horror movie. I will quickly say though, before I jump into why I think this is such a slow burn horror movie, I do like the kills in this. I like that they are gory and violent, but they're not so gory and violent that they overpower the plot. And even though you're a slasher movie and I want the gory and violent kills, I'm going to need the plot to go with it. And Urban Legend actually has a plot to go with its kills. The reason though I think that this movie is such a slow burn is because the character Natalie is such a weak lead character, and at no point did I actually find myself caring about what actually happened to her. She is the vanilla sponge cake of cakes. Like, no icing, no frosting, like, no sprinkles, just plain vanilla sponge cake. And the only reason that she's still there at the end of the movie, because, yes, of course she was going to be the final girl, that was established from the very beginning, is because absolutely everybody else gets targeted first, and she's the last one kind of still standing along with another character who is basically carrying her to the finish. She's my least type of final girl. Final girls who rely on absolutely everybody else to get themselves to the end don't deserve to be there at the end, and you will never change my opinion on that.
Have you learned nothing of the stubbornness of dwarves?
But I don't think that this is an acting thing. I think that this is a writing thing, because when you look at all the other characters in this movie, they have much bigger personalities, despite the fact that we spend way less time with them. But because they've got bigger personalities, when these things keep happening to them, it is noticeably different, because all of a sudden there's a big character that has suddenly disappeared, and then another big character that has suddenly disappeared, and you are more and more exposed to the fact that your lead character is Vanilla Sponge. And you will never, never hear me say this statement here again on my channel, just based on the character and their death sequence. I do think that the strongest actor in this is Tara Reid, and again, I will never, never say those words here on my channel, but I do question why, if you are being chased by an axe-wielding maniac, why you would get into an elevator and go up a single floor. Like, that's a very questionable decision to me. The actor playing the janitor, I spent a good few minutes trying to figure out where I knew this guy from. And it took me a minute, but I figured out that he is Fritz in the movie Vicious Fun. If you've never seen Vicious Fun, you should go and watch it. But I was more surprised when I realised that this guy is Three Fingers in Wrong Turn. Like, I love that. I would never have put this guy as Three Finger, but now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it. Now, I get that this is only a small part, but you put a creepy janitor in anything and they do a really good job of being a creepy janitor, you're gonna remember the creepy janitor.
You know, she's right.
For a 26-year-old movie, this has aged surprisingly well. Yes, it screams at the top of its lungs. It was made in the 90s. You can just look at its soundtrack and its fashion, which makes my 90s little heart incredibly my soul is full right now. That's all I can say. But the reason that I think that this has aged so well is because it's practical effects rather than the dodgy, questionable 90s CGI, which was becoming really popular around the time. There isn't a single dodgy CGI effect in this, and I am 100% here for that. Like, team practical effects all the way. It's good, but I'm not exactly going to be clambering for a rewatch in the future or to watch its sequels, which don't get anywhere near the rating that the first movie gets. So in the end, I am actually going to give Urban Legend from 1998 a 3 out of 5 stars, and that is because my little 90s heart is very full right now, and Loretta Devine is the best thing in this entire movie. But I can't get over the fact that the main character that you follow for so much of the movie in this is so weak that it affects the pacing in the way that it does. And they never actually reveal what Pokerface's name is. So there you have it, my initial thoughts and my review for my first time watching Urban Legend from 1998. If you've also seen this movie, I would love to know what your thoughts and opinions are down in the comments section down below. And if this is one that you would be interested in watching, I will leave a link to justwatch.com like I always do in my description bar, so you can find out where it is streaming in your country. If you would like to know every single movie that I watch though, not just the ones I talk about here on YouTube, you can also find me over on Instagram and Letterboxd at HordesOfHorror, where I'm currently trying to watch 150 150 horror movies throughout the year, and I am already in the 120s, so who knows what number I am going to be on at the end of the year, or maybe even stick around and join the Horde here on YouTube by hitting that subscribe button. But I will be back on Friday with another solo movie review, and this time it is the 50th anniversary of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre this year, and I have never seen the remake from 2003, so I am about to find out what the differences are going to be. So until next time, bye.